right, everyone, welcome back.
It's great to be here.
For our final deep dive into French literature.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So we've been going through all of French literature.
Yeah, hitting all the highlights.
Centuries and centuries of novels and plays and poems. And now we are finally at the end.
The grand finale?
Yeah, the grand finale. And this is going to be fun because I think what we're going to do is recap everything, but do it with a humorous bent.
Yeah, kind of like a roast of French literature.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Yeah.
So the title of our source material for this deep dive is From Nights to Nothingness, which, by the way, I love.
I love that title.
So evocative. It's
Yeah.
where do we even begin?
Well, it kind of gives us a starting point, right? Nights.
Nights.
Ugh.
So many nights.
Too many nights.
It's like the Middle Ages, am I right? Every other page is another, valiant knight. They're always battling dragons or rescuing damsels in distress.
Or searching for the Holy Grail.
Yeah, the Holy Grail. And I get it. Chivalry was a big deal back then, but come on. Was it really all just shining armor and quests?
Well, think about the context, right? It was the feudal system. There was constant warfare.
So knights were important.
Knights were very important. They were the protectors, the heroes. They embodied all the ideals of that time.
So naturally it's going to show up in the literature.
Exactly. Literature reflects the society that produces it.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. But some of the descriptions of these knights and their adventures, they're so over the top. Have you read any of this stuff?
Oh, yes. Quite a lot.
There was this one poem I came across, and it was describing this one knight's armor, and it said it was shining brighter than 1,000 suns.
Oh, wow.
I'm how is that even possible? And more importantly, how could you even fight in that? You'd be blinded.
Well, yeah, a little bit of literary exaggeration there.
A little bit.
But that's part of what makes it fun.
Okay. True.
It lets us explore the extremes of human experience. Even if it means bending reality just a tad.
Plus, everyone loves a bit of dazzling armor.
Right, right.
Thank goodness we get to the Renaissance. Finally, humanism, the rediscovery of all this classical knowledge.
A breath of fresh air.
I know. No more knights in shining armor.
Well, not entirely.
Oh, come on.
They're right. The Renaissance was this huge shift. And it was a period of just incredible intellectual and artistic explosion.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
So instead of just focusing on warfare and chivalry, thinkers and writers, they started celebrating human potential.
Okay, I can get behind that.
They were exploring art, science, the complexities of human nature. So, it's a different focus.
I like that. I like that a lot, the celebration of human potential. But, and maybe this is just me, some of these Renaissance texts, man, they can be dense.
Yeah, I can see that.
For example, Rabelais. Gargantua and Pantagruel. It's giant, absurd situations.
Yeah.
But underneath all that, there's some really sharp satire, right?
Absolutely. Rabelais was so good at using humor to critique the church, to critique society, all the hypocrisy.
He's a 16th century Daily Show or something?
Yeah, exactly. Using wit and satire to challenge authority, to point out hypocrisy.
I love it. So, yeah, okay. Even though it's wrapped up in this fantastical, absurd package.
Yeah, there's a sharp edge to it.
It's social commentary, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I dig it.
And then from that, we kind of move into the classical era, all about order and reason.
The rules.
Yes, the rules.
All those wonderfully structured plays.
The unities.
In a mock serious tone.
Ah, yes. The unities of time, place, and action. One must always maintain decorum.
But they weren't just about being stuffy.
Right.
It was about creating a really powerful and unified experience for the audience.
So it heightens the emotional impact. Yes, exactly. A sense of focused intensity. And you look at playwrights like Racine, Molière, they were masters at working within these constraints.
Yeah, those constraints.
Yeah.
But they still managed to explore those timeless themes.
Power, love, ambition. Yeah.
And it's amazing because these plays were written centuries ago, but we can still connect with them.
Yeah, they're still so relevant.
The characters, their struggles, it's proof that great storytelling, it transcends time.
Absolutely.
Okay. And speaking of ideas that stand the test of time, we have to talk about the Enlightenment. Now
Oh, yeah.
This was a big one.
Radical change.
This was a revolution in thought.
Absolutely.
You've got thinkers like Voltaire, Rousseau.
Yeah.
These guys were questioning everything, challenging authority, promoting ideas like individual liberty, freedom of speech.
They were rock stars.
They were rock stars.
Of the Enlightenment.
Yes. They
Yeah.
shook things up. I mean, they paved the way for modern democracy.
For sure. And it's incredible to think how these ideas, which were radical at the time, have shaped the world we live in.
Totally.
Like, think about Voltaire's fight for freedom of speech.
Yeah.
That's something that, we're still grappling with.
Especially today.
Yeah, like in the internet age. What does freedom of speech look like in the digital age?
Right. And, what ideas that we take for granted now will seem radical to future generations. I mean, what are we missing?
That's a great question.
Okay, so from the rational world of the Enlightenment, things get a little more, shall we say, emotional.
We get into romanticism.
Romanticism. This is where things get really dramatic.
Yeah.
Lovesick poets.
Yeah.
Wandering through misty forests.
Yeah, writing poems about their broken hearts.
It's like the OG emo phase.
Right, but with much better fashion.
Much better fashion, yeah. You got those sweeping landscapes. You got tortured artists. You got a deep, deep yearning for connection with nature. That's romanticism.
Yeah, you got it.
It was a reaction against the Enlightenment, right?
Yeah.
All that strict structure.
Exactly. Romanticism was all about embracing emotion, intuition, imagination. Think of like Les Miserables by Victor Hugo.
Yeah.
Such intense emotion, those grand themes of love and loss, social injustice.
But even though it's super dramatic, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
That yearning for connection, for something bigger than yourself.
Very human.
It is. So then we have to come back down to earth a little bit.
Back to reality.
Yeah, with realism.
Less swooning.
Yeah, way less swooning over moonlit landscapes and way more focus on the realities of everyday life.
Nitty-gritty.
It's less fairy tales, more like, hey, this is what life is actually like.
Exactly. Romanticism was all about the ideal. Realism were like, no, let's portray life as it truly is.
Okay, warts and all.
All its complexities, yeah. All its
Yeah.
imperfections. And you've got writers like Flaubert and Balzac. They weren't afraid to delve into the messy realities of society.
Social life, class struggles.
The human condition, all of it.
Yeah, so this is like the literary equivalent of like all those gritty TV shows we have today, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. They're not always pretty, but they feel real. And you can relate to them.
They're authentic.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then from observing those external realities, we take a journey inward to the depths of the human psyche with existentialism.
Ah, yes. From nights to nothingness.
Right.
That is a pretty drastic shift. All
Yeah.
those quests for glory and meaning, it just seems kind of pointless when you're facing the existential void.
That's the heart of existentialism, right?
Right.
These thinkers like Sartre and Camus, they grappled with questions of meaning, of purpose, of freedom in a world that, increasingly seemed meaningless.
Right.
They challenge us to confront the absurdity of existence,
Yeah.
to create our own meaning in the face of that void.
Okay, so it's heavy stuff,
Yeah.
but also kind of liberating, right?
Yeah.
Because if there's no inherent meaning, then we have the freedom to create our own
Exactly.
the responsibility.
Yeah, both.
Okay, no pressure. And last but not least, we have postmodernism. Full disclosure, this is where I get a little lost.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a whirlwind.
It's a whirlwind. It's like reality is subjective, narratives are fragmented, everything's open to interpretation. I need help.
So think of it as like a reaction to all those grand narratives of the past,
Okay.
right? Postmodernism embraces ambiguity, embraces fragmentation.
It's self-aware.
Yeah, very self-aware. It plays with language, blurs the lines between fiction and reality. It ultimately makes us question, our assumptions about the world.
And how we see it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about telling a story. It's about questioning the act of storytelling.
Yeah, meta.
Very meta. And you see its influence everywhere, from experimental novels that break all the rules to the self-aware humor we see in film and TV.
Right.
It encourages us to be active participants in creating meaning rather than just passive consumers of, pre-packaged narratives.
I love it. I mean, what a journey this has been.
What a journey.
We've gone from knights in shining armor to the complexities of postmodern thought.
From the Middle Ages to the present day.
It's incredible to see how all these eras, how they build upon each other,
Yeah.
reflecting, the evolution of human experience.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of literature, right?
It is.
It's like a window into the human mind.
Hmm.
A reflection of our hopes, our fears, our quest for meaning.
It is. So, yeah, I think the next time any of us pick up a French novel, watch a French film,
Yeah.
let's remember these movements
The ideas that have shaped our world
and, maybe chuckle a little bit at how far we've come.
from those nights.
Yeah, and their very shiny armor.
Until next time, happy reading.
Au revoir.